my name is Stephanie. Welcome to my channel. Today we're doing something very exciting. I love watching TBR jar videos. So today I'm going to be using my new TBR jar to choose my TBR for the month of November. So this I actually made in another previous video, my productive book video, if you want to check out. I think I'll be choosing like 4 books for now and see how I go in November, and then we'll reassess end of November, see how it goes. 4 books I feel like is realistic for me, and it's not going to make me feel overwhelmed, and it's at least going to give me a selection of like what I want to choose to read next. Because if you haven't realized, like from all these, I'm a huge mood reader to the point where it actually makes me feel overwhelmed to choose a book, because I just can't decide what exactly I want to read. And I think like taking that choice out, like narrowing it down for myself and giving myself only 4 books to choose for the month, I think is a good way to go. So I'm so excited. Let's just go, I guess. Yeah. So the first one is a book with a random colour on the cover, which means that I have to do a random colour generator. Yellow, green, but to me this is more green. So let's see. There's actually not a lot that has this colour. Maybe Powerless? Technically? Yeah, technically, right? See that green there? Here. See? It's there. It's there. Actually, you know what? No. I'm actually going to choose this book, Minor Detail. This definitely has the yellow-green on the cover, as you can see. I've been wanting to read this for a long time. So Minor Detail is written by a Palestinian woman. There's been a lot of things in the media about this, and this author specifically as well, what she's had to deal with. If you want to know more about that, you literally just have to look it up. This specific story, it takes place 1 year after 1948, which was the Nakba. That's like a significant moment in time for Palestinians. It's about a crime that's committed at this time, and then it's about present day, where a woman reads about this crime that happened, and it says she reads about this minor detail in a larger context and becomes fascinated by it to the point of obsession. But I have heard it's a really difficult read, which is partly why I've been putting it off. I do shy away from difficult reads, no matter like the topic. But like I said, it's been on my radar for a long time, and I've owned it for a while as well. So I think finally getting to this, and honestly it's not a long book. Like the words themselves are like narrowed down onto the page, and it's like very thin. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm happy this is my decision and I can read it finally. Next for the TBR jar. This is so exciting. Next one is a book that has a movie/TV adaptation. I know exactly what I'm going to choose for this. A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. My mind was blown during COVID when this book came out, and I got it and I immediately read about To Hear. And then I recently started reading and I just read To Hear. So I didn't even get as far as I got the first time. I just really want to watch the movie, but I'm not letting myself watch it until I've read the book, because I've heard there's a lot of things that happen in the book where you may feel sympathy for the main character, but really like once you've read the book you realize like that's not what he's thinking at all. He's actually thinking really nefarious things in his mind. So Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes takes place 65 years in the past from when Hunger Games takes place. So this takes place during the 10th annual Hunger Games. The main character is President Snow as he is in the Hunger Games. This is him as an 18-year-old boy. What I've read so far, it's pretty much his experience growing up as this war's just occurred only 10 years before, the aftermath of that, and like the poverty that he experiences and people in the Hunger Games world experience, and how the Hunger Games are viewed, because how they exist in this book is very different to how they exist in the Hunger Games 75 years in the future. It's really interesting because I feel like everyone's emotions are so much more raw about the Hunger Games. It's not seen as a positive thing. Like people drink and people like are forced to kind of witness this. Whereas like in the Hunger Games world, it's seen as like this fun, happy thing where people are excited for it and looking forward to it. This 10th annual Hunger Games is special because President Snow, well, Snow, he's not the president now. Snow is just about to graduate from high school, and he's brought in to participate in the Hunger Games as a mentor for the people that are chosen from the districts. He gets given a girl from District 12 to mentor, and I think there may be a romance with that, or I'm not 100% sure exactly what happens. Obviously I haven't read it. I think the fact that she's a very strong girl as well kind of like mirrors Katniss in a way. She's also from District 12, and she's like a very strong-headed person, and I think like that gives you more insight as to why Snow views Katniss as she does. I think that's kind of like the full circle moment that's like happening with this. And also with this too, as them being mentors in the games, they're also encouraged to give like new ideas on how to make the games interesting. And so like Snow is having a hand in that. And like he starts introducing the idea of like getting to know the players, interviewing them, like knowing their personalities, all that kind of stuff. It will, I think, be a bit full on for a fantasy world kind of story, like give a lot of context to the world of the Hunger Games, how they exist in the original trilogy. I also really want to read this because of the new Haymitch book that's coming out soon. 2025, so next year, Sunrise on the Reaping is going to come out, and it's Haymitch's book on how he was chosen for the Hunger Games and his experience with the Hunger Games. So I really need to read this before that happens, so that'll be nice to get to this month. So yeah, again, honestly, not that I have to shake it. This is the first time I'm using it. I need to shake it. A book you've had for a long time. I do know what I'm choosing for this one because I know that I really want to read it this month as well. It's Opal by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is a Lux novel series. It's the third book in the series. I've recently read Obsidian and Onyx, which is book 1 and 2 of this series. So I've read Obsidian before. It's also like for my teenage self, because for her, like I really want to read this series and finish it, because at the time, like I loved this series. And maybe it does hit different as an adult versus like me reading it at the time. It was intended to be read as a YA novel, but still it's good. But I'm looking forward to it. I've started it already, as you can see, and I downloaded it on my Kindle too, so I'm going to start reading on my Kindle because I'm a Kindle girly right now. Physical books are hard for me to get into. I might even get these on Kindle as well to read. So this series is about Katie. She moves to this new town. She meets her neighbors, and one's really, really friendly and wants to befriend her, but the brother, the boy, is just like absolutely horrible to her, and she's like so confused as to why this is. But then she soon finds out that they're actually aliens made of light, and the brother is just being really, really protective because he doesn't want her to get too close to learn who they are, like possibly expose them, which kind of fails because she does find out that they're aliens. Lots of things happen from there, and some twists that you wouldn't expect as well. And that's kind of where I'm sitting now in this book. Like I don't know where this book's going, which is kind of why I've put it off for a little bit. And this is going to be the last book I'm going to choose because I don't want to overcommit to what I'm reading, because that will just make me feel worse. So the last one is a book your significant other picked. Okay, I'm going to go get him to choose a book for me. Okay, so the prompt is like, read a book that your significant other chose. So just choose one of these books on here. Please choose well. This one?
Yeah.
Really? Thank you. So he's chosen this book here. So this is Songs for the Dead and the Living by Sarah M. Seller. This book I've actually already started reading, and I mentioned in my productive book video where I refreshed my cart. I stopped reading it. See, I got this far in. It took me a long time to get into because I couldn't understand like who any of the characters were. Like it would just give the characters names. It wouldn't say who they are within the story. Like, are they an uncle, a sister, a brother? You're kind of like just immediately thrown into the story. I just feel it would have been helpful to be like, oh yeah, and my sister says this. Like there was no explanation whatsoever. And you know how some stories can be tell rather than show. This was like all show, no tell whatsoever, but you sometimes need tell. It's also like Palestinian coded as well. This story is also about elements of the Nakba that I was mentioning before with minor detail. This book I gotta read this month then. Honestly, I feel like it's been sitting here for so long and I've really wanted to read it. I just haven't. So this is nice that it's pushing me to, and it's nice that it's a bit of a like Palestinian themed month of reading, I guess. So these are all the books that have been chosen. Minor Detail by Adoniya Shibli, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Susan Collins, Opal by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and Songs for the Dead and the Living by Sarah M. Saleh. So yeah.